Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be doing a product review video for Hippie Crafter. They sent me some watercolor paper as well as some watercolor pens for me to try and to show you guys what I think of them and just tell you a little bit about it. So you can order these directly from their website or you can order them off of Amazon. I will include the link in the description below for you guys if you'd like to go check them out. So for the watercolor pens, you can get them in a 25 count for $17.99 or you can get a 50 count for $27.99. And as far as the watercolor paper, they both come in a 2-pack, but you can get 2 different sizes. So the size right here is the 11 by 15. This is for $25.99, or you can get the 9 by 12 size, and that is for $23.99. So I will include both the links in the description below for you guys if you are interested in purchasing either of these. And when I first got these, I did do a little test run with them so I could give you guys a true product review as well as just to get a little feel for them. And with it being October, I did some Halloween styled art, of course. And these I actually turned into digital download files for my customers on Etsy so they could use them for clip art or just however they choose to use them. I turn them into PNG files. So I'm able to just scan these, or you can take a picture and just edit it on your computer if your camera quality is good enough, and turn them into files. So it's actually able to get some more use out of it that way. So I ordered these from Amazon. I'm not going to disclose the brand on these since this is a product review video for Hippie Crafter, but these were a cheaper option that I had found on Amazon when I just started out. I wasn't looking for anything in particular because honestly, I had no idea what I was looking for anyway. So I just picked something that was within my budget at that time to order that was fairly cheap. But I bring these watercolor pens up because now that I have used 2 different brands, I'm able to truly compare the 2 and tell you guys a true and accurate opinion on the difference in quality and versus the price. And now looking at the price of these versus the price of Hippie Crafters, they're about the same as far as what you're going to spend. The only difference is the quality is less on these, and these come in a nice pouch and they come with less pens as well, but the quality is not as good, so you will not be able to use these as easily as you can use Hippie Crafters watercolor pens. So this is Hippie Crafters watercolor pens, and they're a 25 count, so you get a lot of them. So it comes on a little tray. So as far as convenience of toting this around, it's not very convenient, but you can always just take these all out and put them into a pouch like this to carry around to make it more convenient for yourself. So what I'll probably end up doing is just switching these out into this so I can take them on the go, like when I go on trips and things. It's not, you know, that hard to carry around. And as far as watercolor paper, the 11 by 15 might not be as convenient for carrying around just because it is so large, but that is where I would say order the smaller size, the 9 by 12. So it would be a little bit more easy and convenient for you to carry around if you just want to go, you know, sit outside and paint, or if you're going on a trip or something like that. So now that I've talked about all that, let's get into the video on actually painting with these. So with watercolor pens, you always have an actual water pen. So this is what it looks like. It's just a pen with water in it that you can squeeze and the water comes out of the tip of it. And to fill it up, you just unscrew this part right here and you just fill this up with water right in there. So it's really easy and convenient. You don't have to carry around a cup. Whoops, I'm turning it the wrong way. You don't have to carry around a cup or anything to dip your watercolor in like you normally would with regular watercolor. So we're going to recreate our little scarecrow right here into watercolor. So we're going to start off with our yellow color just to match his bow a little bit, and that's where we're going to start, is drawing his bow. So we're just going to draw out his bow. And you'll see how good this stuff just runs right on out onto the paper. Like, it's really easy to use. Whereas the other cheaper brand, it just kind of had a lot of resistance, I feel like, and it did not have a lot of color in it. So it took a lot just to get the color that I was going for and to get it to apply to the paper. So that's one side of his bow, and then I'm going to go ahead and just draw the other side. And I'm just doing straight strokes so it doesn't mess up the color when I go to add the water to it. So there's our color down. You see, it's really pretty even without adding the water to it. So now with our water pen, we're just going to squeeze it gently. You got to be careful with this because it does kind of just run out on you. So just be easy when you go to squeeze it. Don't squeeze it very hard because it does not take a lot of pressure, which is a good thing because that's another thing with the other brand that I was using. This one you can gently just press on it and the water comes out easily, whereas the other one, I had to really squeeze the sides of it for the water to start coming out. So it made it kind of difficult for me to use and be able to do this gently and creating my art with it while I'm over here trying to get water out of it. So it made it, you know, harder to use in that aspect. So we're just going to run over our colors with it. You'll see how nice that blended that out. And if it starts to dry up, just add a little bit of water again. And we're just going to brush this out. And you can blend it as much as you want, because the good thing about these watercolor pens is that you can blend them very, very well. So if you have a really dark spot, which I wanted mine darker here because that gives it depth as far as how the bow is coming around. And the same for this side. So I'm just going to brush them out a tiny bit. But there's the bow portion of it so far. And now we're going to do his ribbon portions right here. And I'm just going to come from the center and go down with it. So if you do want darker edges, like how this has the line here, or in like the middle to add depth to it, you can just run over that area a couple of times to give it that darkness. And then when you go over it with your water, you'll just blend it along the edges and just push against that dark area that you want it to be darker at. So you're just using the water pen as like a blending tool, basically, is all that it's used for. It's just blending out that color to get it to the lightness that you want it to be, or to spread it as far as you want it. And if you want really light edges, then you can come out further with your water and you'll see it has that light edge on it. And that gives it more of the watercolor look, because I'm actually making these pretty dark. And you guys, like I said, I'm not a pro, so I'm still trying to learn the way of watercolor. So I'm just doing the best that I can with it. And I always, typically with my artwork, I go back and add darker lines and things later, but we're going to do that once it dries, because if not, it just kind of blends together or runs into each other, so we don't want that. We want to have that separation going. So once, you know, all said and done, we'll go back and add our details to give this more depth. But for right now, we're going to leave the bow alone, let that dry, and I'm going to get a light brown and start on his face. Very easy with this because I do not want this very dark, so I'm just trying to be super careful with it just to create that color. We're going to try to blend this out and see how it goes without completely coloring this in. So I'm going to color all the way through like that, just so we'll have color throughout the face. We're going to add some water. Probably going to put a lot and then just blend it. So what I have noticed with watercolor pens, the only thing about it, if you're too heavy on it, sometimes those streaks will not go away. Like, you cannot blend those out. Even if you're super light, like these, I was not heavy on the pens, but it still has that streaky look. Which is not a bad thing as far as our scarecrow goes, because they're not going to have super smooth, like a super smooth face or whatever. But as far as anything else that you don't want those streaks to appear on, that's the downside of it. It's trying to learn how to keep yourself from creating those streaky look. All right, now these darker places, I'm going to attempt to do a little circular motion on them to blend them in more. But what I love about these is the color is very vibrant, so it's very pretty when you're using these watercolor pens, and that makes it easy for me to create digital artwork with them. So then I can get a good picture of them to put on my computer and edit into a PNG file for my customers. So that's a really good plus side to it. It's very bright and I don't have to worry about that being too dull on my camera or on my scanner. I'm just going to try to darken right around his bow right here because I wanted it to be kind of shaded since the bow is right there. I'm just going to add a little more color in and around the edges of his face. This is where it will be a little darker anyway, because like his hat's going to be hanging right here, and around the side of your face give you that difference in lighting to make it more realistic. So we're just going to blend these out. And see, my issue is maybe I'm just not doing it dark enough and I need to add more to get that blendy look so it's not having this streak look to it throughout here, because I was super easy with my color. I didn't want it to be too heavy, so because of that, that may have caused that streakiness, whereas if I would have just colored it the solid color like I did the bow, it doesn't really have that streaky appearance to it. It'll give it more of a blended look. So there's his face, and I think I'm okay with that, so I'm just going to leave that for right now. We may add some more later, try to give him a little more depth to his stitching on his face. But they don't have labels, so I can't tell you guys exactly what color it is. But they have two different reds in this pack that I'm picking from. So I'm going to take my yellow. We're going to create his little leaf because I don't want to mess that up creating the hat first. So I'm just going to draw out the leaf that's on his hat. And like with regular watercolor, if you do have too much water or it's too watered down, you can take a paper towel and wipe it up or dab it to remove some of that excess watercolor or water if you have too much water going on. So like if you press it too much and the water comes running, you can just dab that up to remove some of that excess water. So that's the way to fix it if you do end up using too much water by mistake, or you press the water pen too hard and get too much water. I am going to try to start adding his straw hair in. Hair, and now we're just going to fill it with water to blend this out. So I'm I'm going to try to go right along each piece. And I'm going to actually add some more in there just to break up that smoothness that watercolor gives and gives his hair a little more, try to give his hair a little more of the look that its individual pieces. So we're just going to run along and just draw. And these I'm not going to blend with my water. So the paper does really well as far as taking to the color and blending out the colors when you're using your water. So I think that has a lot to do with how this turns out, as well as the quality of paper that you're using. Because I've used several types of watercolor paper as well, and some of them just do not take the color very well. Like, it will not absorb it and actually take to the color that you're applying. So that's another plus side of this. It's very durable and thick, and it does take really well to the colors that I apply to it without taking away from me blending out my colors. So it does really well with both of those things. And now for our hat, we're going to add in some extras, like the little patchwork they typically have in their hats. My little guy over here doesn't have one, but we're going to add it just because I think it adds to him a whole lot. We're going to take some black and just kind of outline along his hat. There is his little hat, okay, and then we're going to add in some color to his bow. So I'm just going to do, I'm not going to blend this because I don't want it to be smooth looking. I want it to be like a pattern on his ribbon here that he has. So here is our scarecrow, guys. Isn't he adorable? Now, I know his hat is huge, but I think all in all it's really cute. Now, as far as what the watercolor pens did, you'll see how vibrant this is and how cute this turned out by just blending and doing layers and layers on it. So these are all the colors with them. And this is just a 25 count right here, and it comes with all these different varieties for you. So all in all, I would definitely recommend Hippie Crafter for watercolor. I have not tried their other products yet, but I do plan to do so because the quality of these watercolor pens are very, very good. Compared to the ones that I've used before, these definitely take the cake on that. So I would highly, highly recommend getting these watercolor pens if you are interested in testing out watercolor pens. These will be worth your money. Like I said, this 25 count is $17.99, so that's really not expensive at all for 25 watercolor pens that do really well. And same with the paper. Now, even though I made this a super complicated painting, because I always like to try to say I'm going to do something simple and then end up doing something complex, because I love to do like more realistic style art. I don't like to just do very basic things. So of course I'm going to sit here and layer and layer and layer until I get the appearance that I want to make it look more realistic and give it that depth. So I do plan to have some more videos coming out for you guys. I have been a little behind on uploading videos, actually a lot behind. We have been very, very busy with the business lately. It has been doing very well, which is a great thing, and we're getting ready to get into holiday season, so I'm not sure how much more busy we're going to be and how much time I'm going to have to record and do crafting videos, but I'm going to try my best to do some more crafting videos for you guys in the coming weeks. So just bear with me until I can figure out a good schedule for this to work in some craft videos for you guys. guys. But I really appreciate y'all's support and taking the time to watch my videos, and also the ones that take the time to actually comment on my videos. I read every comment that you guys leave. I respond to as many as I can, as quickly as I can, as far as questions go. So feel free to leave me a comment if you have any questions about anything, and I will try to respond as quickly as possible. But I do appreciate each and every one of you for supporting my channel. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video.